Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to chat about makeup that I've changed my mind about, either for better or for worse. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I really lean heavily into kind of conscious consumerism and really thinking through each item I purchase to make sure it's something I truly want in my collection. In some cases, I like something when I first get it, and later on I realize it's not quite what I was hoping, or vice versa. I get it in the mail, I try it once, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't what I thought it'd be at all. And then I come to love it as I learn more about the product. If you're new here, hi, I'm Morgan. I kind of just talked through the whole premise of my channel. I really focus on conscious consumerism and cruelty-free makeup here on my channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would love to have you subscribe before you go today. And now let's jump into the list. Okay, so as I alluded to in the intro, sometimes my opinions change for the better with these products and sometimes for the worse. So I'm just gonna kind of alternate or go in whatever order makes sense in my mind with this list. So the first thing up here is the Range Beauty True Intentions Hydrating Foundation. And ironically, I thought I was so sure that I would love this that I actually bought two different shades, like more of a winter and more of a summer shade for me. I liked it okay at first. I was willing to kind of mess with it, try to figure out how it worked best on my skin, try it with a brush, a sponge, my fingers, etc. to kind of get it to look how I prefer my makeup to look, and I just never quite got there. My main issue with this is that if I try to blend it in with a sponge, it just completely picks back up on itself. I can never actually get an even application. If I apply it with a brush, it goes on a little more evenly, but it very clearly shows the brush strokes. And because the sponge picks it up off of itself, I can't then go in and kind of even out those brush strokes with a sponge like I normally would do if I had a foundation that left streaks. So basically I'm left with the option of my fingers. This product just still never quite looked even across my whole face with any of those three application methods. So ultimately it got to the point where it was so fussy that I never ever reached for it. And even when I did reach for it, I was disappointed with the result every single time. So although at the beginning I was really excited and really hopeful for this foundation, the poor experience of applying it really stopped me from loving this. So ironically, I actually decluttered this foundation a while back, like a long time ago, but I haven't found a new home for it. I'm trying to think through who this may be a good choice for, and although it's supposed to be a hydrating foundation, I feel it actually left my skin looking very dry. So I think someone with oilier skin may have a better time applying this and not having it kind of like stick and drag to dry patches. So I think I need to just pass it along to someone with oilier skin. At least they can try to get some use out of it. I don't want to just like toss it or get rid of it without at least attempting to give it to someone else. Okay, next up, I do not have this product anymore because I used it up in my project pan this year. Item number 2 on the list is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. This is like a cult classic. People have loved this concealer for years, and I think there's a good reason for that. And I also used to absolutely love this concealer, even all the way up until a few months ago when I did use up my last container of this in my project pan. I thought it was a good concealer. Where I changed my mind on this though was I always thought of it as like the superior affordable concealer, like the best one out there. And I no longer think that at all. I actually prefer every single other one of my affordable concealers that I have now to that concealer. I think it just kind of set the bar really high for drugstore concealers and kind of paved the way, so to speak, for other brands to kind of up their game as well. So I think it kind of just fell from grace in my mind. I have found other concealers that are the same price or less that perform way better. So I think just given time, it has kind of phased out in my mind of being the best affordable concealer. Okay, so both of those were ones that went from love to less of a love. Now let's do one that did the exact opposite. This is the Nabla Skin Bronzing in the shade Ambra. And this bronzer threw me for a loop, took me for a ride. This thing was crazy. I'll link up in the corner my first impressions using this bronzer. It is pretty humorous now that I look back at it. It's basically me swirling my brush in this bronzer for like minutes and minutes and minutes on end and never getting any product on my brush, and then being mystified how somehow there was bronzer on my face. It just builds up so slowly on your face that it's like kind of a mystifying experience. At least for me, I feel like the rest of my bronzers in my collection are relatively pigmented, and this is kind of the first time that I ever encountered a bronzing powder that was quite this subtle and buildable. And I now love this bronzer for that exact reason. The shade, first off, is absolutely perfect for my skin tone, especially when I'm pale in the winter. And the really nice tone combined with the fact that it's very buildable means that it never overpowers my face. So I love this on lighter makeup days especially, and in the winter especially. Next up, another one that has really risen in the ranks since my first impressions of this product. This is the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Quad in the shade Berry Bad. Now, at first glance, it looks really gorgeous, and you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Morgan, why didn't you like that at first? Those look like exactly the tones that you love. And you would be right. And that's why I bought this, because it absolutely looks like shades that I adore. However, the first time I used this, I was pretty like let down by these two shimmers in the middle. I already had the Pumpkin Spice quad from e.l.f. in this kind of same format, and the shimmers in that palette are like sparkly, glittery, gorgeous lid shades. And when I swatched these two and then put them on my lids, they felt more like satins, more lackluster, and I was just very disappointed because I had such high hopes and expectations from that pumpkin pie palette, and this one just wasn't living up to those expectations. However, let me just swatch these for you while I talk through kind of why I've changed my mind. So what has kind of allowed me to change my thoughts and opinions on this is that these feel very expensive. I feel like high-end formulas have more of that like all over gloss, all over sheen, less of the like chunky, glittery sparkle and shine in some shimmers, and more of this kind of like refined shimmer. So honestly, actually, I think although they weren't what I was expecting, they are a formula that feels much higher than their price point. So yeah, I kind of went from being disappointed by these shades to realizing that I needed to reframe my opinions and kind of think of them more so as a simple little quad that's going to give you a very luxurious look every time. Okay, next up, we have Glossier Skywash. I have the shade Terra, and I might as well just swatch this for you as well, because I think it'll help me explain the situation here. So here's a little swatch of it. It's relatively deep for a product like this that's supposed to kind of sheer out all over the lids, right? And that was kind of the issue I was having with it at first, is that when I sheared it out, it just like kept on going and going and going and going and going. And no matter what, it was always kind of messy. And I always felt like I came out with the least structured eye shape that you could ever imagine. And sometimes I like that. Sometimes I like that more blown out look. But sometimes that's not what I was trying to get. And because this is such a like precise little applicator, it like always led to me to believe that I was going to be able to do something accurate with it. So again, this one was a matter of just like reframing my own expectations, right? The fact that this color is a little deep for me to be just like an all over wash means that it's actually better suited to using the tiniest amount, like I'm telling you, barely even putting any on my eyelid, kind of on the outer corners, and then blending and diffusing from there. And when I use it for that purpose, I get the most gorgeous, like smoky watercolor look. And I don't know how else to explain it. I know that those two words are contradictions, and that's why I totally don't understand how I get that look with this product. It is somehow adding just enough depth to contribute a smokier look, but then it fades out along the edges so flawlessly that it's like a watercolor blendy mixy vibe. And I just absolutely love this product now. And anytime I'm really trying to get that like blown out smoky eye, this is what I reach for. Okay, we have two left, and number 6 is not a product per se. It's actually like a makeup technique or color or something that's kind of in its own little category, but I feel like it fits in this video for a specific reason. And that is the fact that I absolutely used to despise gold eyeshadow. I thought it was like the peak of tackiness. I thought it was so incredibly unflattering, and I had no understanding of why it was such a popular color, especially for shimmers on the lid. But I have discovered that the problem was actually just me, and I did not understand how to pick gold eyeshadow for my undertones. So you'll see I'm wearing some gold today, and I love this look. It has a yellow matte as the base, and then I put the gold on top. And I personally think this is really flattering on my complexion and with my eye color. I think I had tried different tones of gold in the past, and they just were unflattering on my neutral leaning cool toned skin. Because gold is so warm, it always pulled out kind of this like unflattering shade in my skin tone. So yeah, not exactly a product, but kind of like a type of makeup that I have dramatically changed my mind about over the past few years. Like I wouldn't be caught dead in gold eyeshadow 3 years ago, and now it's one of my favorite shades to use. Okay, and then last up, this one may come as a bit of a surprise to you all. I want to chat about the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer. Now, I like this tinted moisturizer, and when I bought it for the first time last year, I bought it in the summer. And in the summer, my skin is a lot more hydrated than it is in the winter time, just naturally. You know, that happens for a lot of people with dry skin. I think the level of dryness in their skin varies dramatically with the seasons. So when I purchased it last summer, I really liked this product. I think it worked super well. It never has had like the longest lasting power on me or anything like that, but I think in the summer at least, I thought it looked good. And because it's $14 for 1.5 fluid ounces, it's a really good bang for your buck. So as I started wearing this in the winter time, I realized that this was not well suited to my dry skin at all. It clings to dry patches, and I have a hard time actually evenly blending it over my skin when it's even slightly dry at all. It fades off of those dry patches like immediately. As soon as I put it on, basically it's gone. So it doesn't fade in a flattering way either, which I didn't really experience in the summer. In the summer, it faded. It didn't have the longest lasting power, but it at least faded evenly across my skin and didn't leave like lines and cracks and blank spots. The irony here, though, for me is that this is marketed as specifically a hydrating product. They have hyaluronic acid in here. It's a tinted moisturizer. So it's like pretty specifically being targeted towards adding moisture to your skin. And now I feel like I might get some comments down below about the fact that hyaluronic acid is a really tricky ingredient. It's really better suited for skincare when you're going to be like putting nice moisture barriers on top of it. It maybe is not quite as well suited for makeup. However, I have the other products in this Pretty Fresh line from ColourPop, and they are not too drying at all for me. So it's not that I think I'm misusing the hyaluronic acid in this product. I think it really is just the formulation of this tinted moisturizer in particular that's an issue with my dry skin. Now, that being said, summer is coming back around here. I'm excited to keep testing this out. So it's not like I've definitively decided that this doesn't work for my skin. It just may be more of a seasonal product than I anticipated. And that's okay. I have quite a few things that are that way in my collection, whether it's because the shade match is a little off in different seasons, or because I just prefer certain formulas at different times of the year. So that's not like it's a deal breaker, but I just thought I'd give an update because I have kind of raved about this whole line, this whole Pretty Fresh line as being very good for dry skin. And I kind of want to go back on that for my very dry winter skin with the tinted moisturizer. All right, so that is it. 7 things that I've changed my mind about. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to my channel before you go today if you have not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.